So in this video I want to talk about male anxiety and insecurity in relationships, something that we all experience at some point in time. If you're a man, we've all experienced anxiety or uncertainty going into a relationship, and especially in the early stages of a relationship, and especially when a girl pulls away from us, tells us that she's not interested in us, specifically says, she doesn't want to have sex with us anymore, she doesn't find us attractive, or she simply doesn't respond to our phone calls or text messages. This is usually enough to elicit some kind of anxiety or insecurity in a man. Now, hands up if you felt anxious and uncertain in a relationship. I know I have, and pretty much every guy out there at some point in time will feel a little bit nervous the moment a girl doesn't respond to them, she pulls away, or she gives a sense that she's losing a bit of interest. Now, what's really important to understand here is that action causes a reaction. Your action and the way you deal with a situation is going to cause a reaction in the woman. Most of the time, it's not really a big problem if your girlfriend says, she's lost interest in you or she's feeling bored in the relationship. If you know what you're doing, this isn't something you need to worry about. But I'll give you a very good example of how things can go wrong. I had a good friend of mine who was dating this girl and he really liked her and everything was fine. One day she just got busy and she didn't respond to his text messages, and she basically went about her day and he was sending her a couple of messages and she just didn't respond. She looked at her phone, thought, I'll get back to him later, and she didn't. And for whatever reason, she forgot. She went to dance class, she went shopping, she had dinner. By the end of the evening, he'd pretty much blown up her phone. He text bombed the hell out of this girl. He called her on the phone and he was just getting so anxious and uncertain and worried that she pulled away from him and left him, or had lost all interest in him. Maybe she met another guy. Whatever was going through his head, he decided he was going to try to resolve the situation by calling her like crazy and trying to get some kind of peace and security by sending her messages and hoping that she would reply. All he did, though, was push her further away. She was into him, and the more he sent the messages, the more she pulled away, and she realized that this guy was actually weaker and more insecure than she first thought. When he spoke to her, she actually said something which was very poignant and something which is very important to understand. She said to him, you reminded me of my ex-boyfriend. When you blew up my phone, when you were calling me and texting me like that, you reminded me of my ex-boyfriend, and the reason why I left him was because he was so weak and insecure and needy. And so when he did this, it brought all of those old feelings back. Now, if you're dating a girl who is over 18, she's gonna have had at least a couple of guys try to blow up her phone, try to text like crazy, chasing her, and it's going to turn her off. Women, by the time they're about 22, 23, going through to 25 and upwards, they're acutely aware of weakness in men. They understand this because they've seen so many weak guys, and they know what these guys are like, and they know what to look for and the signs to avoid. Keep this in mind. Usually in relationships, in my experience, there really isn't a problem unless you make it a problem. If you make things a problem, if you start to get nervous, if you start to react out of weakness and neediness and insecurity because you want to satisfy your own feelings and you want to get rid of that anxious feeling, so what do? You text your girlfriend or you try to get some kind of comfort, and it doesn't come, and your feelings escalate and they get worse and worse and worse. This is pretty much the worst thing you can do. I've seen so many guys destroy perfectly good relationships with their own anxiety and insecurity. In fact, it's probably the number one attraction killer, anxiety. If you display any kind of weakness, you're going to push her away. Keep in mind that your girlfriend or your wife, she doesn't know what you're thinking when you're not next to her, right? If you're not with her, she doesn't know that you're lying on the bed, checking your phone every 20 seconds, trying to find out what's going on. She's thinking you're probably off having a great time, so she's not worried about you. But the moment you start to give her a sense that you're feeling nervous and your anxiety comes through, and she picks up on it, because women do pick up on it, and women smell weakness like a shark smells blood, she will jump on it, right? And she'll use it against you, and she will become less and less attracted to you until the moment you start to shore up your weakness and you can prove that you're not really weak and insecure. Then she'll be like, okay, right, it's fine. She comes back to you. But if you keep being nervous around her, you keep being insecure, you're worried that she's going to leave you, you're going to push her away. And she's going to keep going away until she loses all attraction for you and she doesn't want to be with you, right? So it's very important not to let your anxiety and insecurity shine through. Now, you can be as nervous and as insecure as you want behind closed doors. You can chew your fingernails until they're dripping with blood. You can go and talk to your mum your friends, and you can tell her how nervous and anxious your girlfriend's making you feel. But one thing you don't want to do is express this directly to your girlfriend, because it's going to push her away. In fact, any woman you're trying to seduce, any girl, if you give her a sense that you're weak and insecure and needy in the relationship, she's not going to want to get into a relationship with you. She's going to back off, right? Because it's an attraction killer. Do the opposite, right? She doesn't know what you're thinking. Anytime you have a gut feeling that you want to text a girl because you want to satisfy your own insecurities, do the opposite thing and don't text her, right? So go the opposite way. And then you'll send a very, very clear message that you're confident, you're strong, and you're quite happy being by yourself. Unless she wants to reach out to you, then that's fine. You can have a conversation, and that's how you build real attraction. But don't let your anxieties and insecurities destroy you. Compared to women, men are much more anxious in the relationship, especially in the early stages of a relationship. Whether that's because men fall in love a lot faster than women do, they do. Whether men want to have sex faster, they do. Whether men want to, get closer and get more affectionate and intimate sooner, they do. Women aren't ready at the same speed at which men are, right? So you need to keep that in mind. Women don't want the relationship to happen as fast. If you rush it, if you try to get too close to her too soon, you're going to turn her off and she's going to pull away. Everything has to go slowly in the beginning, and especially when your girlfriend pulls away from you, things have to go back to the beginning and you have to seduce her all over again. So you have to go through the whole process again. You have to back off, allow her to come to you, because that's going to turn her on, that's going to spark her interest again. So if your girlfriend's pulled away from you, if she's lost interest in you, then I highly recommend that you go to my website and download a copy of my guide. It will show you exactly what you need to do to get your girlfriend back and to keep her attracted to you. And if you have a specific relationship problem, also go to my website and you can book an emergency consultation with me. And if you just want to get in touch, I love to hear from you guys. Talk soon.